No, freak out, right?
Good evening, everybody. We're just waiting for everybody to get in here.
Good evening, bro.
How you feeling?
Feeling good, feeling good.
Good, good, good. Pops to get in here. What's up, Pops? Just waiting for a few more people to get in. And
All
then we
right.
can jump right into it. We can hit our cameras on and we can get into it. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good in yourself.
Man, I'm feeling good, excited, ready to get into it, man. Have a good evening.
Facts. Okay. I'm good. I have to make sure my audio was on. There she go. There she go. Turned up to the max.
Baby girl.
Oh man, she's a movie. She's letting it be known I am here. I'll be like, okay, little sis, do what you do. Well, go ahead, twin.
Cool, cool, cool. YouTube looking good. So everything's plugged in.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's coming in. We'll give everybody a couple more minutes and we'll get everything going.
Right.
What's up, fellas?
Yo, what's up?
What's
What's
up,
going
bro?
on?
How you feeling?
Cooling, man. Just getting off.
Yeah,
Yeah, about to tune in.
that's good. That's good, man. Good to hear from you.
Always, always.
Welcome on in, everybody. As you coming in, I see the Ely family. See Travis, my bro. Not sure who iPhone is, but just waiting for a few people to come in, and we're gonna jump right into it. We'll get our cameras on if you can, and we're gonna jump right into tonight's pop-up panel.
What they do?
What's good?
What's up, Mike?
What's up with it?
How you
Something like
feeling?
I'm good, brother. I'm good.
Good, that's
How
good.
y'all doing? Y'all good?
yeah,
Yeah,
everybody.
I'm good, man.
That's good. Nice to hear.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
We're just giving a couple more people a couple more minutes to get in, and we're gonna get right into it, Mike.
All right, that's a bet.
Good evening, everybody.
How you doing?
Hey, y'all.
Hey, doing good.
How y'all doing?
I'm good and good. Nice to see everybody.
Happy Thursday.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Right back at you, bro.
Indeed.
Get my award.
Yes, sir. What's up, y'all? See my
What's
boy.
up?
Hey, what's up, everybody?
What's
What's up, Coach?
Peace, peace,
What's up,
peace.
Coach?
Coach Carr, what's up?
Hey, how you doing, man? Good. How you feeling? Good, man. Good. We're gonna get it rolling at about 7:05, man. I think we'll have a nice handle to get it going, pops.
I know, I got you. I got you for sure.
And I got you tonight on the comments in the chat, so we'll be good. I got some help on that.
Perfect.
Yeah, what's up? I like my headphones. Slip. Fall. Can't get up. Got to get up. On man, page, Sir Mason. It's on my way.
Hey, Callie.
Good evening.
Yes, indeed.
Coach Lampson said she tried to log in and won't let her log in.
Okay. You sent her the link.
Yeah, she said she's gonna try again.
Okay, because there ain't no password or nothing on it.
Okay.
I'll text Tony just to let him know.
Mm.
What's up, TJ?
What's up, Coach?
How you feeling?
Good, and you?
Good. How that knee going?
You're getting better.
Good. I see you finished the year strong.
Yes, sir.
Almost that time, baby.
You know, like,
TJ, what's up, young buck? What's up with?
What's up?
Oh, I gotta see you. What's up, man? You all right?
Yes, sir.
Always good to hear, man. Glad to see you.
That boy TJ got some academic awards. You gonna talk about it tonight, TJ?
I can.
That's what's up, man. Proud of you, man. Keep it
Very
up.
Thank you.
modest.
Yes, sir. Humble, man.
Very modest, very humble, I've been here before, so I know how it feels to be academically sound and ready.
Facts.
that was a crispy and clean answer.
We on you, Pops. We ready to go. Welcome on in, everybody. Let's get this thing rolling, man.
All right, y'all. So first and foremost, right? Happy Father's Day, early Father's Day. If you're not a father, you're a uncle, godfather, mentor. Happy Father's Day to you, first and foremost. Secondly, my name is Coach Randy, also known as Pops, Norfolk State grad. The one thing I would love for everyone to do is, just go around the room and introduce themselves, first, last name, what you do for a living. But I want you to describe your day with one word. Describe your day with one word. I don't listen. I used to be a teacher, so I used to do the popcorn method. Kids used to be all the time. So whoever wants to start it off, start it off.
Let me get it out the way because gotta tap in and then catch y'all from the YouTube too. So I'm Kendall Callahan, the brother of Samaj. Also extended brother of Lorenzo, extended brother of Pops. Everybody in here, you know. I'm a entrepreneur. I got a government contract with the military doing residential and commercial moving. To describe my day, we're gonna say I'm blessed to have the military provide the money that we making now. So I'm blessed. You know what I mean? I'm blessed. I'm real blessed.
Congratulations.
And I appreciate everything that's coming to me. So that's it for me, man. Appreciate y'all.
No, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you.
No question.
All right, I'll go next. Samaj Callahan Bay, Coach Cali, entrepreneur as well, full-time caregiver, and the list goes on. But right now, I'm focused on the holistic world and how you can heal your body, take care of your body, and heal your mind through your stomach, as well as keep the recovery strong so you can go every single day. So in my one word, I would pick consistent. That's the word I would pick.
Okay.
All right, so let me go next before
all
somebody take my word. So what's up, y'all? I'm Travis Jones, founder of SW3 Sports Agency and SW3 TV. Heavy on the sports marketing, media, all things youth development. Big on like I said, mental health, because it's the mind, right? You know, if you can change your mind, you can change your situation. I believe in that. So to think about my day, one word, gratitude. Right. Anytime I make the wake up list, that's my word, gratitude.
Could dig that.
Mhm.
I'm gonna go next. I'm Darius Carr, special education teacher at the Juvenile Detention Center. Also head lacrosse coach at Green Run, assistant head JV coach at Green Run too.
Okay.
And I would say my word for the day is grateful. Grateful for everything that I do, everything that has come to me. I just say I'm just grateful for the day.
So I'll go next.
Okay.
My name is Kirsten High. Good evening, everybody.
Hey, sis.
I'm a licensed professional counselor. I work with youth and adults. Been working in this field for about 25 years, and I love it. Every day is a new adventure. My word for today would be fruit. I am starting to see the fruit of seeds that have been sown, and it really feels good. Today's been a good day.
Damn, that was fire.
That's good. Yeah.
That was.
I'm gonna go next. Following my
Okay.
wife. That's Mrs. High. That's my wife. So let it be known. Sorry. My name is Lorenzo High. I am a counselor, a coach, mentor, and my one word for today is healed. Healed. I feel like I'm healing and I'm healed as well on a daily basis. So every day I'm healing, but I'm also healed from many things.
That's a good one too.
Okay. Should I go next?
Thank you.
Well, look, hey everybody, my name is Michael Tyson. I'm originally from Virginia. I'm an ex-NFL player, entrepreneur, have a mental health center, you feel me? Mental health advocate. My word to describe today, I say, is appreciation. I appreciate every little moment I have on this earth. I appreciate, you feel me, me being on this call with y'all boys, y'all men and ladies. You know what I'm saying? To be here to, just spill, what I'm saying, our knowledge on like mental health and, just giving our knowledge back from the game from every angle as well.
Okay. Next up.
Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Terrence City Jr. I'm a student athlete at Green Run High School. I also play on the football team. I'm now a junior and I play running back. my word of the day would be positive. I want to, especially because every day I want to keep positive with my ACL journey. So got to keep my head on strong.
Mhm.
All right. Excuse me. I'm Terrence Ely Sr. I just started a new job with the city. I'm a truck driver with the city of Virginia Beach.
Congratulations.
Yes,
Appreciate
indeed.
it. So
All right.
I'm gonna go with new beginning. So looking forward to the journey.
Perfect.
I'm Cyril Grayson Jr. I don't know if y'all can see me. Okay, I'm Cyril Grayson Jr. Professional football player, trainer, all of those things, entrepreneur. And the word of the day for me will be refreshed. And I'm just refreshed. I got to stay in the house for a little while longer today, spend some time with the family.
Nice.
I'm eating clean.
Important.
Then I went and got a workout in with my son. He in the back riding, and we
What's
had a
up,
good
Neff?
time.
Yeah.
Nephew, what's up? Why?
So just feeling super refreshed from today, man. Refreshed.
Perfect.
Is that everybody? I think we just
Nah.
had somebody come in.
Yeah, I think we had like 2 more people just jumped in.
If you just came in, if you would like to introduce yourself, first, last name, what you do for a living, and we're picking our one word that would describe what you do on a day to day. One word. What's your one word?
This is Coach James. Can y'all hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
yeah.
All right. Aggie Pride. I'm a ANC grad, class 96, child psychology major from Elizabeth City, North Carolina. I'm a qualified mental health professional through the state of Virginia. And my one word is touch. And that stands for touching the lives of other people. Anybody you come in contact with, you're touching them somehow. So my word is touch, Coach.
Welcome in, Coach.
Welcome
Appreciate
in. Thank you so much.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm. Is that it?
I think so. I think that's everybody. Yep.
Okay, perfect. Oh, I didn't go. That's crazy. Coach Randy Millard, Brownsville, Brooklyn, Norfolk State grad. I am the social media manager and events coordinator for a basketball multimedia platform named NYC Prospects. And my word today was honest. Because I just sat back and just honestly seen like the relationships I fostered with people. And now it's more so like just trying to be more impactful on those positive as relationships I'm creating. You know, if it's not through basketball, it's through life period in itself. And sidebar, if y'all hear an 8-month-old being loud and my lady being loud with her, they in the living room having fun. All right. So but I'm focused and I'm here. All right. So when it comes to the month of June, even though I have a birthday this month, is there anyone else with a birthday in here in the month of June? Thumbs up, thumbs down.
You rolling solo.
Oh yeah, okay, cool. But guess what? This month is for us. This is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. And the first question I'm gonna ask, and then I'm gonna let TJ answer first because you know he's on this ACL journey, you know, on the repair mentally and physically. Why is this important to talk about mental health as men, even though you're a young man, you consider as a man? So why is it important for us to talk about mental health as men?
I think it's important. I don't know if it's for everybody, but I know me as men, you know, we don't say much about our feelings most of the time. You know, we kind of just suck it up and keep going with the day because we're supposed to be strong as men. But it's important because you never know what somebody going through. You know, as simple as a checkup, like how you doing, how your day been, that could help somebody a lot. You know, probably prevent them from doing something. So I just think it's important to check up on us because you know, you never know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, okay. Is there anybody else who would love to answer that?
I would like to agree and just piggyback on what TJ said from the aspect of most of the time we don't have these spaces. That was one of the reasons why it didn't take, a lot of sponsors and this, that, and the third. It's just like, yo, we don't have this, and we need it. We need it as men, but we also need it as men to show young men, that you have to be vocal, that it's okay. You know what I mean? You don't have to lash out in front of everybody or let everybody know what's going on, but it is cool to have a council and a group, that you can go to, that you can let it off, and you can still work out in those things. But I think that it's very important just to know that men do go through things, because most times the feelings are suppressed, you know what I mean, and they're looked over, you know what I mean, and at times, that forces us to fall into depression and even worse.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That's good. I think that it's important to talk about it because vulnerability breeds vulnerability. So once you start talking about it, you create the space for other people to talk about it. And then once you're vulnerable, then that breeds that's fertile ground for growth and for healing too. Like sometimes like when you just don't talk about what you're going through and now somebody else not talking about it, you think that you're going through it alone or that you're the first person to go through it. But when you talk about it, you start to see that, man, somebody else is going through this or has gone through this. And now this is a place where healing can start. So I think that that's the reason as men, like it's important because women just go and talk about they feel. They just go and talk. They're gonna do it whether they feel like they gossiping,
Right.
putting it out there or whatever it is. Men, we want to be private, but like that space right there is really important for us to be able to do it. Wait, son. Um, for this though, for the kids to know, and
Mm-hmm.
for TJ to know and stuff like that, because growing up, our dads taught us to be tough and just be a man about it, and what that meant, like putting on a shell of toughness and just concealing what we're feeling when that make you less human. We all are human, and it gives that space for everybody to be human too. The guys in your circle. So yeah.
Yeah, man. I love that.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go ahead and answer that question. I think it's important because three things. One, when you hold stuff in, because I was one that held stuff in and let it bottle up. So
Right.
one, when you let it bottle up, you tend to explode, and you can't take back the consequences that come with that and who you affect. So that's one reason why it's good to open up and go ahead and express it and let it out to release it. Two, resentment starts to build when you, whether it's against yourself or whether it's towards whatever the situation that's causing you to feel that way, to hold it in.
Right.
You get that resentment, and then that's frozen anger, and then that starts to build up, and then who knows who's going to get the problem after that when you release it. Three, it gives you whether if you don't feel comfortable going to your immediate mom, dad, well, when you open up with your peers or with somebody that you can release it to, it gives you an extended family. It makes you comfortable enough to be able to open up and express yourself in a different manner. So that's the three key points for me, because that's what taught me. That's what it taught me.
You see, you see, I'm loving the conversation already because it's coming from a place of us being there as men, but also at times us just needing someone, that's to listen, someone for just for listening. I mean, because the great thing is, like, I always lead with this quote: "Listen to understand and not to reply." Because it's times we're going through things, but we can't articulate it, and then we lash, and then we act out, and then we're looking like the bad guy. But when I was trying to tell you, what was going on, opposed to you listening. Is always someone saying, "Oh, what you should, if I was, or you could have." It's like, bro, mom, listen to me. You feel me?
You want that empathy instead of that sympathy.
Yeah, and and at times it's needed. Am I lying?
No, you ain't lying at all. Especially like, with the weight of the world, that's most of the time it falls on a man's shoulder, or at least we feel like it. You know what I'm saying? It's because, like my brother said, we bottle up everything. You know what I mean? Something at work, it's something at the business, it's something in the relationship, something you know what I mean? From something happened in traffic, something happened at the store. It's like a compound, you know what I mean, of stressors. And a lot of times it's the people that's closest to us, who do get it. You know what I mean? So it's definitely needed, brother.
Is there any more answers?
Yeah, I actually like to address that. You said something that hit my mind, right? And it's that empathy versus sympathy, right?
Yeah.
People think when they sympathize, they don't understand they're actually causing a disconnection, where empathy is about building a connection, putting yourself in that person's shoes. Because a lot of times, we try to put this silver lining around things like, oh, it could have been, like you said, they're trying to get you out of it. And all I really need you is just to feel with me. Right? A lot of people negatively think of misery loves company. Let's think about it in a positive way. Yes, misery loves company. I want you to understand where I'm coming from. I don't want you to be down bad with me, but it helps me understand that I can get out of it if I know someone else maybe have been through it, right? And also came out on the other light. So I think that's why it's important, man, because a lot of people don't listen without judgment. Right? We're always getting judged by family, friends, because they know the past us and things of that nature. So it's important to just be able to talk and say, hey, here's who I am now and here's who I'm becoming, and how can you support me? Right? And how can I add value to you? So that's why I enjoy this space and what we got going on right now, for sure.
For sure. So how about we get into these topics? Now we on section 1.
Let's do it.
Performance and pressure. Now, the first question is, how do you handle the pressure of competition both on and off the field? Now, there's a lot of us in here who play sports. Like myself, I was a Norfolk State intramural all-star in basketball. Dead nice. I had fun. But in all honesty, how do y'all handle the pressure on and off the field in regards to competition?
I used to prepare. I used to handle pressure through preparation, and it carried with me now. You know what I mean? Like I said, my one word was consistency. So in a lot of areas of my life, I like to battle myself. I like to battle myself with new challenges. I like to battle myself with things that I've done before to get better, going back and critiquing myself. But a lot of times when it came to the pressure of the game, I didn't let the fun get away from it either. I remember that it was still a game. And at one point in time, it was my whole life, or at least I thought it was. And then, in volume 1 of this panel, we spoke about a little bit of when I walked off the field because, I had an individual self that I had to respect. So I had to keep it fun. I had to remember that it was a game, but I didn't have a problem with practicing hard. I didn't have a problem with working out. I actually now, when I look back at it, it's like, yo, you should have done more. You know what I mean? But just constant preparation, watching that film, asking questions. And the same thing happens now. Going back, figuring out what you did wrong last year, last week, last month, and asking questions. Yo, can this be done? All your ideas, when you visualize something, you got to just ask, look in Google, look in ChatGPT, and then go and ask the people in your city, because things that you think you can't do, you can. You know what I mean? Those big dreams that you have. A lot of time, the pressure with me now is aligning with the right people, keeping the right energy in things, making sure people can buy into vision, and instead of like Travis says, sympathizing with it, having a positive synergy for it, having a positive empathy for it on a positive side, saying, man, I want to be a part of that. Just like we're coming together tonight. It's like it's bigger than everybody on this call. You know what I mean? Because everybody on this call is connected to some type of youth in which these type of calls can just give them a little bit of inspiration and confidence to handle situations that they in. So every day, you know what I mean? Just constant repetition and not being afraid to make mistakes as well.
I would say on that question, how do you handle pressure on and off the field? Was that the question, Pop?
Yeah.
So me personally, it's like a competition. You know, I know in college, high school, you know, middle school, playing the team sport is a competition against the opponent. And as we grow, it becomes the competition against yourself. You know, so you have to look and see and compete with yourself. You know, if you did a mile, you know, for me, like let's say I did a mile and like it may not be the fastest mile to someone else, but if I did a 14-minute mile this week or this month, next month I'm trying to do a 13 and a half or 13 minute, like little things to compete. Because for me, when I'm competing or somebody challenges me, I perform my best because I'm competitive. So if I can be a competitive against others, I make it a challenge, or you know, I'm competitive against myself. So that's what helps me on and off the field. So yeah, it makes it fun to me when it's a competition. It just makes it fun. Like you'll see kids, if you're working out and then you play a game and make it a competition, all of a sudden they forget about their working out. They're trying to compete. They're trying to win, and they're competing and they're working out and getting bigger, stronger, faster by just having a competition.
Right.
Well, I say how to handle the pressure, how I handle the pressure on and off the field is probably more like just being organized in everything I do. Having a positive outlook on, you feel me, attacking that day or that activity, you know what I'm saying, or whatever I'm doing. So one thing I really do when I'm going through anything, I really just sit and take time to myself and make sure that everything I'm doing in my pieces is all placed in the right place, and I'm not overwhelming myself with certain things. You know what I'm saying? Because sometimes we can look and be like, dang, I ain't doing enough. You know what I mean? But sometimes you might be doing too much and you might have too much on your plate at that moment.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So sometimes you might have to take a little step back and look at it from the outside, you know what I'm saying? Then, you know what I mean? Just so you can make sure you have your pieces right there in the right spots.
Is there anyone else who would like to chime in?
Yeah, if I could, I would like to say something. My on the field days long time ago. So I couldn't even tell you what I did back then. But just to, trying to tie it in with today, as I go to work, I try to gain knowledge, to help the pressure. So if you and you can apply it on the field as well. If you know what they're running, or if you know what you're doing, you gain more knowledge on whatever you're going through. It's going to be easy for you. So I would say gaining knowledge on your opponent, on your job, on your machine, on your whatever, knowledge will help you through it.
Yeah, that kind of brought something to my attention. Like, it's kind of funny, but I be putting pretend scenarios in my head. Like, I ain't gonna lie. Like, I'm like, if she hit me, like, am I gonna hit her back? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's funny, like, but like, I'm like, it's real though. Like, but I think it's also like, I'm more of process oriented, and then like thinking about the whole picture of it. Like when I'm playing, I'm thinking about this singular play. As a receiver, I'm thinking about beating the release. Then I'm thinking about getting to my route. Then I'm thinking about the ball coming, and not thinking about it all at one time. But I done went through this, like before the game, I walked the field and I walked through these plays in my head. So when these situations come up, I'm not surprised by it. Like, so I'm able to like Mr. Terrence said, like, I'm easily like, I didn't watch this film before, or I know like what's coming, so I know how to deal with it. Whenever I get caught by surprise, my anxiety is raised up. Or if I'm not knowledgeable about this, then I have to do what Mike said. I gotta take some time and really process it and say, like, okay, and then deal with it. So yeah, like take time away from it. I go through these situations and scenarios that might not ever happen in my head. Say, would I ever rob a bank? Like, if my family needed the money, like I'm serious, but I go through those things, and I think that's what helped me deal with the pressures in the moment.
Right.
And I think I take each moment,
Yeah.
and take them as they come.
Yeah.
So this next question, right? We just spoke about, handling, that's the pressure of competition on being on and off the field, right? What role does self-talk play in your athletic performance? Now, understand, I know, listen, we all talk trash to our opponents, right? We all talk trash to coaches. There's some student athletes and players who talk trash to the fans. What role does self-talk play in your athletic performance?
Oh man. Look. Self-talk.
Yeah, Mike.
Look, hey, self-talk is like so important, man. Like, what you say, really, you manifest exactly what you say. You know what I'm saying? So if you talking negative and looking at something in a negative light, like, so say if you did a wrong play, you know what I'm saying? And I played defensive back. So say if you did a wrong play and you still harping on that play, it's gonna mess you up for the next plays.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you don't talk positive, you gotta so if something happened, you gotta speak positive. Look at the positive out message that's in there. Don't look at the negative. It's easy to look at the negatives because the negative is bright. You know what I'm saying? So, but if you look at what's positive and take out the positive in that situation or whatever happening at that moment, that what helps you grow. You know what I'm saying? That what helps you build as a better player. You feel me? And a better man. You know what I'm saying? Because now, if you speaking positive about the situation, you taking accountability of what you did wrong. And now you looking at what you have done wrong instead of pointing the finger on, oh man, if the D lineman, let's talk football, if the tackle was right there in his gap, that hole wouldn't have been that big. Yeah, we can all say and point the finger at the next person. You know what I mean? But if you look at, okay, what did I do wrong in that situation? Maybe you ain't read it fast enough and get down and tighten that hole up tight enough. You know what I'm saying? If you're the linebacker, you know what I mean? And me being a DB, we gotta forget the next plays. Like, we gotta go into the next play, because we gonna get toasted the next play. Then the next play. Then the next play. Now you're not locked in. Now, guess what you doing? You letting your team down. You feel me? Because you down on yourself, but you're not even taking accountability of what you did wrong in that play. You feel me? And the same thing goes in life. If you don't take accountability of the thing that you have done, you know what I'm saying, or what you could have done better, you know what I mean? Then you defeating the purpose. You feel me? You losing that battle right then and there. You might think you winning at the moment, but you losing that battle because you losing that chance to grow as a player or a man.
Yeah, I totally agree. And like Mr. Ely said, before, self-talk. Self-talk is important because you got to be able to go back and hold yourself accountable. But I feel like it's a transition because, like he said, a lot of us are so far removed from the game as far as playing, but a lot of us are still athletes. So that self-talk is important. You go, if you got an interview, if you got a big meeting, even to decompress, like Cyril just said, maybe not in terms of if this woman is going to hit me, but I talk to myself on responses, you know what I'm saying? Because I try to figure out, and I know a lot of you, because as men, our tone and our delivery, especially when we're talking to other people, if we're passionate, it comes off as now anger. You know what I mean? It comes off. So a lot of times I talk to myself on trying to get that right delivery on, trying to just get my message across without hurting people. You know what I'm saying? But it's not going to always be nice. You know what I'm saying? In the same way, you know what I mean? You got to hype yourself up. You got to do your affirmations, but I need one more rep. So I don't have a coach. I don't have a trainer, but sometimes I got to tell myself, don't be no little, come on, give me another one. You got one more in you. Let's get it. Come on. You know what I mean? Or them days where, back a little bit tight, you know what I'm saying? And you don't feel like, or you went to bed late last night. Like I talked to myself, like that's on you. You went to bed late last night. We still gotta get this workout. We still gotta put some effort towards the day. But self-talk is just important because whether you play the game, and back then it was more so talking to myself like you can defeat this person. Don't let that DB get in your head because a lot of times that's what a DB, that's their job. Once they can get in your head, they control you because you have to one up on the DB before the play start because you know the play. But if they could take you off of that route, if they can make that timing off, they win. You know what I mean? Now, if he could say something about your mama or something about your girl, something about, you know what I mean? Something that he looked up during the week on your Instagram or something. Now it's a one-on-one. You forgot about the other 10. So you got to talk to yourself again. Oh man, I'm tripping. Get back in. You know what I mean? Or my last thing is self-talk is important because your teammates also can now read your body. I remember the very vivid the UCLA picture when the player went, and although he made a mistake, his teammate wouldn't let him put his head down. He lifted his head right up. You know what I mean? Like that type of stuff is important because it sends signals to the other team who's tripping. That's what Dennis Rodman was great at, getting in whoever's head and he lock in and stay there. So when you got teammates, you know what I mean, that see that, you know what I mean, they can read your body language. They can see when you getting too deep, like, yo, let it go. So it's important, man. It'll travel with you forever, you know what I mean, in all situations.
Right. So TJ, how does self-talk look for you in your athletic performance? Model it for us.
I like what Mr. Mike and Coach Cali said, but for me, it can either make or break you. So like if I'm talking to myself in the game, in the scrimmage this year and another in-season game, I made a I fumbled the ball. In the preseason game, I was in my head a lot about it, broke down on the sideline thinking about it the next day. Later in the season, nobody wanted to fumble the ball, but I kept my head up. I didn't break down on the sideline. Told myself it's not okay, but it's okay. You got to move on to the next play. We're going to progress off of that. If you talk negative in your head, just like straight negativity gonna come out. Yeah, like you think negative, you're gonna play negative. Think positive, boost your confidence. You go on to the next play. Possible positive outcomes gonna come. So that's how I go by it.
Okay. Is there any more answers? Because I have a next amazing question, and this question ties into this right here. Now, we've all played team sports, right? Everybody in here has to. If it wasn't organized, it's probably in the park, in the playground. Right? Now, you don't have a coach on the playground, but you got an OG, right? And your OG showing you the ropes. So now I want you to imagine your OG as your coach. How can coaches support athletes who are struggling with performance anxiety? Now, think about it, right? Because listen, I'm gonna kick it off because I coach, well, at least as I used to. So I had a game like 3 weeks ago, right? I was covering for one of my business partners. He coaches with a Adidas sponsored program called New Heights. And one of the kids, he was acting unusual. So I pulled him to the side and said, "Are you all right?" He goes, "I don't know." Usually, if this was the old me, I would call him soft, right? Knowing, the state of the world today when it comes to mental health. And parents be on the sideline, especially with an 11-year-old who was 90 pounds soaking wet. I looked at him and said, "Yo, you got this." And the kid took one long deep breath. I think it was for like a minute. I'm like, you all right? He was, it was a timeout. Next play, he scores the basketball and it's like the world was lifted off of his shoulders. So in that moment, right, I put myself in his shoes as an 11-year-old because the coach I played for at 11 cursed me out. I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, you called me all types of MFs and soft. You know, I'm 11. I'm only
Right.
right. So coaches, OGs, how can we support student athletes who are struggling with performance anxiety? Anybody can kick it off.
Oh well, shoot. I kick it off. No, but for real though, like that right there, that's something that I really the past few years kind of like teeter-totter with, because you know it's a thin line between, you know, like when you trying to amp somebody up and get them going, you know what I'm saying, and then but doing it too much to where they start having that anxiety and can't really function. My son like that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And I'm still trying to learn how to, you know what I'm saying, do that, because I'm like, man, let's go, man. You should, you feel me? Like, you know, you should know how to do that right now. You feel me? Then he like, look at me like, you feel me? So like, to me, you feel me? Like, and then he shut down a little bit, you know what I'm saying? So like, for me, like, I like that, like, when you have a coach, like you said, you know what I'm saying, that can pull you to the side, you know what I'm saying, and holler at you and give you a little pep talk, you feel me, one-on-one. You know what I mean? Like that really sometimes mean a lot, because some people go through so much, you feel me, at home, you feel me, to where if you go out there and you yelling and mother MFing and saying do this, do that, it might trigger, you feel me, some trauma that they have. You feel me? That obviously when they're younger, they don't know that they have it, but like that's us being older, we know like now that stuff is trauma when you kind of like shut down when something happened, you like, and they make you stop and freeze for a little bit. That's trauma. You feel me? That's something you got to go deal with, and you got to get there on it fits. But those kids wouldn't know that. You know what I mean? So like, yeah, so like having that coach that can pull you to the side, you feel me, and talk to you and like bring that out to you and make you feel important, because they probably don't get that type of love at home. You know what I'm saying? That one-on-one talk. You know what I mean? So yeah, so having those coaches like that is a big part of the game for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
You feel me? Because that can change, like you said, the dynamic of, you know what I'm saying, what they come out there and do and how they can perform for you.
Right.
Hey, can I come behind that, brother?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, bro, you open up a whole can of, you open up Pandora's box with this, because you took it off the field, and a lot of times with that pressure, you talk about performance anxiety. People expect you to come out there and perform like with no mistakes.
Yeah.
And then again, who coaches? We don't practice to lose, right? So everybody practices to win. Then, you know, but then, like you said, off the field, and that's where myself, you know, watching from the sidelines, you know, I'm an athlete, but never performed. We got two guys that I coached that are in the NFL right now. But the biggest thing I had with them was my relationship with them. And one of my strongest slogans is rules without relationship equal rebellion. So I always try to build a relationship with them on the weight room, while we picking up trash, while we helping you out with your equipment, having these one-on-one conversations, because you got to know your players. And so from being around multiple schools as a counselor in the building and on the field, some of these coaches don't have a relationship with their kids, so you wonder why they hate you on the low, because they don't like you for a reason. Then I go to another school, they got other coaches, players will go run through a brick wall for their coaches. And then in another school I was at, you know, there wasn't a bond, but they still expect you to perform. But then they didn't know how to, like, they haven't connected with their players. You know, X's and O's is great, but if they hate you, it don't matter what your X's and O's look like. You can have the best X's and O's playbook, whatever, but your players hate you. Okay, so guess what? We got 99 problems. We got a whole bunch of problems before we even run the play. So when you know your players, you know how LeBron got like 400,000 handshakes.
Right.
You have to know your player, his identity. Like you just said, coach, like coach player, you can't cuss at some guys. They already jacked up, but some guys you got to talk to them to the side. You know, some guys you can't talk to them raggedy in front of their homeboys. You know, you done messed them up. He done. So you got to figure out what type of player you're coaching. Some of these guys just going to play for 4 years in high school and they're not going D1. They're not going anywhere. But then the other guys that are heavily recruited, how do you talk to them versus how do you talk to the guy that's not going anywhere? What's the language like? You know? So, I mean, you know, scouts are not looking at these guys, but they're looking at these guys. How do they feel? You know, so it's how you talk to some guys. I have to realize some guys don't like to be cussed out. You got to talk to them in their ear. You might be able to say some cuss words in their ear. Nobody hears it. It's just you and them, but they get it. But if you cuss at them in front of 50 people and they mama in the stands, we done. And you saw, I had one guy get cussed out and he done took his uniform off, what like AB did for the Steelers or whatever. He went to the, you know, AB.
Yeah.
AB took everything off. This a grown man. And so what happened? Like, yo, they couldn't check this NFL player, you know, so he got set off somehow. So you have to know these triggers for these guys. Some guys will perform very well if you know how to talk to them. Like pregame, like all week, you talking to them, and you're not waiting till they come to you. You have to be proactive. So as adults, as men, we have to go and build our relationships with them. Not wait till they come to us. We have to go to them. And then on that off the field stuff, you know, there's other stuff they deal with that has nothing to do with football. Yeah. You know, so you problem solving in somebody's house. We ain't even talking about running a touchdown, dude. He dealing with home stuff, so that's why he can't perform on the field. But you want to address his home issues. All you want him to do is run touchdowns, but you ain't checked his crib. So I think God shifted my path out of the school system into mental health, because the school system ties your hands. Black man can't say I love you. You can't do this. You can't do that. So when I got into mental health, certified mental health professional, now I can go to your house and look in your refrigerator. I can see who in your house. You got your stepdad beating on you. You got you having issues at home. So now how you think you're gonna perform on the field? You got anxiety before you even try to perform. So, and look, it transfers to college. It transfers to NFL. So when you get NFL, those head coaches, sometimes some of them want to know about your life, and then you dealing with some open wounds. And then do you get set off? Then you wonder why is Antonio Brown taking his helmet off at halftime? What is he doing? You know why? He's been dealing with something for years. Right. But nobody talked about it because all they want to show is his highlights. But they ain't looked at when he closed the door at his crib, what is he dealing with? Right. You know, so we have to be a little bit more proactive as coaches. And myself, again, I'm a basketball player, but I've learned the game through other coaches and watching players and listening to y'all and just trying to take in stuff, man. So it's about, you know, helping out. We can ease our players' anxiety if we first have to know them first. When you know your players, man, you can bring that anxiety down yourself. Because they're gonna look for you. They're looking for you to calm them down. And one quick example, we had one guy on our team named Andrew. He got yelled at by his D coordinator, and he punched a tree and ran in the locker room. He didn't like to be yelled at in front of the whole team. So you might have to. Yeah, he got mad. He almost broke his fist punching a tree. So I had to leave the field and go follow him. But, you know, he missed his assignment, and, you know, coach was like, yo, that. You know, coach is right, of course, but he pissed now because you done embarrassed the hell out. Excuse me, you done embarrassed him. So now he like done. So no, I had to get him back on the field. Coach needs you, but, you know, got to break it down. But sometimes you don't have time to counsel a kid while you running through scout team and all that stuff. They don't have time for that.
Yeah, that's the emotional. He ain't emotional intelligent He still got to learn that. You feel me? Because if he bashing off doing all of that, you know what I'm saying? He really ain't gonna get it because ain't nobody never gonna be able to really get to him. But like you said, building a relationship will break that barrier right there too.
Yes, sir. And, and look,
Yeah.
kids know when you fake and when you phony. I promise you.
For sure.
You cannot play these teenagers. They know when you just talking. So you gotta cross that barrier because some of these homes I go in, they don't have no relationship with their father. So sometimes they don't know how to approach our own coach with an issue. Because of, like my man said earlier, fear of judgment. And if some people think you're supposed to know something already. No, I like they don't know it. And then you talk to them, but you can't use the judgment piece. And like the book says, who are we to judge? But when you see the problem, then the problem introduces, you get introduced to the problem. That's our time to go in and help. That's our key. That's the key sign, to go in and help. Don't sit there and be like, well, why are you doing this? Well, he doing it for a reason. You saw him go crazy. Don't ask why. Go get him. Go rescue him so he can be ready for game day. Don't sit there and fuss him out. Now he jacked up. He not gonna perform. He probably don't even want to play anymore.
Yeah, I think that question is it's a deep question. But I know for us, I know when I linked up with Coach High, and we added Coach James, the main reason was I wanted to take the diet approach, you know what I'm saying, to healing, because we played the game, so we get it from different aspects, you know what I'm saying? We played the game for one in multiple sports. So that's the first thing. So we never had nobody to do that for us. Then second, the question is, you want to know why, you know what I mean? The big question. So before even meeting with any team or any player, you just got to look at the landscape of our people. Majority of these sports are ran by us. So you can just look at through your experiences. It's before you even get on the field, like a lot of the coaches said, but it's deeper, man. You can preach and you can talk to a kid and you can listen and you can talk nice to them and all you want. But you only going to do that to build a relationship initially. You cannot single a kid out to the point where you're giving them special treatment, because somebody's going to yell at you, and punching a tree and breaking your hand or breaking a glass is not going to work. You know what I'm saying? As well as if you keep eating the wrong foods, it doesn't matter. It's going to always be an act, because you're never going to have control over your emotions. You're never going to have control over your expression, you know what I mean? And you're not going to have no emotional intelligence and self-control. These things happen, and when you see them, which is why we initiated with Green Run, because they were the first to just give us an opportunity. But this is the reason why we're there. Every coach ain't healed, you know what I mean? Every coach don't have the time. A lot of coaches have their own family, so once they give what they have with the team, they got to build themselves back up to go give it to the home. So us being former players and knowing we can't be there every day. I can't coach X's and O's for 13 hours every day, but I have a phone that can be open for 24. You know what I mean? I can help you when you feel like you're having a relationship issue, or like Coach James said, when your mother is getting beat or your father, because a lot of these issues, I'm an adult now and I can talk to your parent. I know what they're going through. I know what your dad going through. I know he feel he not getting paid enough. He's not being respected. He's not being appreciated. You don't get that because you're a kid, but us being an adult now, we can talk to different levels of people, and that goes much further than just coaching. When you're talking about performance anxiety, one of the main things that handles that is breathing. That's why we wanted to introduce yoga. You know what I mean? Fasting. You know what I mean? This teaches you discipline. This teaches you not to be a glutton. This teaches you not to overindulge in things. This also teaches you to keep your body on a high standard. When you're an athlete, you are different. You know what I'm saying? So you must remember that. You should love your body. You should treat your body like a temple. That's the car you have to drive. But this is the way that we're trying to go at it, because it's much deeper. If you can grasp these concepts and you're an exceptional player, you're going to go extra far. Because I've seen tons of exceptional players and even Hall of Famers. They never got the diet right. They never got the nutrition. They never got a hold of their emotions or nothing. They were just exceptional athletes. You know what I mean? That doesn't make you an exceptional man. And then, like you said, everybody is not going to the next level as far as sports. But the way we're coming at it is everybody going to the next level. You got to get up out of here. You got to graduate and get up out of Green Run. So we have to prepare you for the next step. Some of y'all going to be great carpenters. Some of y'all going to be great electricians. Some of y'all going to be great in cybersecurity. But all of y'all need to be great men. Y'all need to be great young men to turn into great men. And we can't lose sight of that because we're great at sports. We're great at rap. We're great at dancing. We're great at all these things. But we're also the most locked up. You know what I mean? We are also the most divorced. You know what I'm saying? We lack the most fathers in the household, and here we are at men's mental health. And a big part of that anxiety is because performance anxiety and just anxiety, period, is because that kid doesn't have that connection with a man that he loves, a man that he missing. You know what I'm saying? So the way that we go at it, it's a little bit of a bonus to have somebody to deal with herbs because we can get you product. Like there's herbs that deal specifically with anxiety, depression, all of that stuff. So it's like a little bonus. And I want to lock in with as many parents with our coaches as possible because if parents co-sign the diet and parents really see that, we look at Ananda Lewis, you know what I'm saying? She was 52. We grew up off of her. She was on BET. She died because of breast cancer. Like the proof is in the pudding now. So it's like it's running hand in hand for us, not to be long-winded.
No, you good.
Listen,
Sell that product.
listen, it's okay because at the end of the day, it's like this is information that's needed, right? But I gotta jump around, Callie.
Yo, please do. Get some people that ain't talking to.
And that's a fact.
Get them, Pops.
Because listen, this next section, oh man, we're gonna talk about this for a minute. Relationships and communication. As coaches, what is one pet peeve that you have that your players do that pisses you off? And you be like, you know what? I used to do it too. I'm gonna kick it off. When I was playing high school basketball and my coach was telling me to do something, it went in one ear, out the other. I used to give him a thumbs up and run back on the floor.
Straight disrespect.
Straight disrespect. And I'm like, now I'm 38. I'm like, damn, I used to really give Coach Towel a thumbs up, going one and out the other, turn the ball over. He said, why did you give him a thumbs up? You know what I mean? Now, is there anyone else who wants to share their back in the day disrespect that's a pet peeve for them now?
I'll go. Back in the day, like my coach used to say something to me and I just look at him. I won't say nothing. I just like, it's like me staring in his soul. And I just wouldn't say nothing. And then like now the kids do that to me, man, and that jank irks me, man. Like I'm talking to you, I'm asking you a question, just say something. But they don't say nothing. They just be looking at me. And I'll be like, man, you know what, man? Go over there somewhere, man. Go get some water, man. Do something, man.
Oh my God.
But that's something I used to do too. So I get it. Like coach is getting down on you kind of scared to say something for real. So then like you either say something or you don't say something. Either way you're gonna get in trouble.
You might as well just not say nothing at all.
Yeah.
Is there anybody else?
Hey, can you hear me? Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Y'all can't hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Can you hear us?
You can?
Yeah.
Okay. So I want to speak on this one. You said you wouldn't say nothing. When I was a player, I always had something to say. Like it don't matter what. The coach would say, "Hey, why you being so smart?" I'll be like, "Coach, I can't help it that I'm smart." And like coach just like I always had something to say, like no matter what. So it's like, look, here she goes.
You always got something to say with me.
Always got something to say. Who that?
Yo. All right. So listen, man. It's funny. It's funny how now, right? Us as coaches and we're coaching the youth, and we like, damn, we used to do the same thing that they're doing now to us.
Yeah.
We don't like it.
Repeating cycle.
Repeat the cycle is crazy.
Mm-hmm.
First question, and this is a very good question. And TJ, I would love for you to answer this because you are the youngest one here, right? How do you talk to your family and friends about the pressure of sports?
Well, with my dad, after every game, we do a pretend interview,
okay,
to talk about the ups in the game, the downs of the game. Then after me and my dad, I put on the TV, we actually watch film together, to see what I could have done better. But as far as pressure, he used to coach me, so he knows like my body language. He knows when I'm filling up and all that. I just talk about like how I felt in the game, how I felt if a coach could have did something, if a coach threw me off my game, or if I just wasn't feeling it that day. When it comes to friends, I really will talk to my friends about the games, unless they ask questions. My teammates, we have our little sessions. We talk about, like, we in the locker room waiting to go on film. We talk about each play. We talk about how somebody affected it, something like that. But I really talk to my dad the most about the pressure. There's not really nothing to it for real.
And dad, right? This is a piggyback question. How was it coaching your son?
It was easy. Now I didn't coach him directly.
Okay.
You know how you go to some games and you be like, oh yeah, that's his son right there. I know that's his son. You wouldn't even knew he was my son. So we coached the same team. I coached the O-line. So I didn't deal with him, but I was still dad. But you never knew that was my son from our team, aspect. But now that I could just sit back and focus on him and not the team, I can critique him a little more and see what he needed to be doing and what he could have done. Matter of fact, we were just talking about a play while you guys was talking about the Bayside game this past year. They ran a fake handoff to him, and instead of hitting the flats, he just stood there, and I'm like, bro, you got to go out to the flats. You ain't get the ball. You got to pull that linebacker out, and the quarterback ended up throwing an interception because the linebacker didn't have to do nothing. You ain't get the ball. You just stood there.
Right.
The next half, they ran the same play, and he went to the flat, almost a touchdown. But it's little stuff like that I can home in and talk to him, and try to get him on the right aspect. Like you say, we do interviews, and he had an interview today, and I'm sorry, he had an interview this year. We didn't know it was going to happen because he was a sophomore. Well, they interview a sophomore, but when I spoke earlier about knowledge, I always want him to be prepared. So we do this every game just in case, and he did very well.
Okay. Now my last question is, TJ, do you really listen to your father when he speaks to you about football?
Yes, sir.
No, you can be honest.
No, yeah, I do.
I was making sure.
Better.
Yes. So let's keep this question going. How do you talk to your family and friends about the pressure of sports, especially coming from old playing days aspect to a current coaching aspect? Anybody can jump in, and if you haven't spoke yet, jump in.
In today's time, I speak on it to Coach High the most. I try not to discourage my family from a vision because we're starting from a vision. You know what I'm saying? There isn't a paying position for a mental health coach on the staff. You know what I'm saying? A lot of what we do is adding extra. So we're trying to bring the philanthropy side, you know, the humanitarian side, but also just tackling anything extra. You know, we're trying to relieve the coaches as well as be there. You know what I mean? Because although I'm not licensed, I'm licensed in life. Like I know what I do this, you know what I'm saying? Because I've been through it. And the reason why I'm coming at it is because everything we didn't have is what I try to give us now. And even if I'm not the one that's providing it, that's why we have to outsource. You know, want to teach young men how to play chess, want to teach young men how to farm, want to teach young men and women how to fish, just things that teach them how to get away from stuff. So for me, in today's time, I have to talk to people who understand me, or it's a waste of words. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to feel like I'm complaining to somebody who's not in what you do. When you bring what you do and you bring the pros, it's great, you know, but when you bring the cons of it, because there's a lot of red tape in what we do, you know, we want to be a part of fundraising. We want to be a part of Booster Club. We want to be a part of what we did with events, you know what I'm saying? Because one of the main issues with programs and turning that corner and really becoming a program is raising funds, you know what I mean? And all the time you don't get the biggest sponsors, but we have the wins, you know what I'm saying? So it's bringing that creativity there. Back in the day when I played, it was easy, you know what I mean? Because you had so many people who were at least into sports, you know what I mean? So it's easy to talk about, yo, what can I do to get better here? Yo, make sure you pay attention. But I would speak to mainly like older cousins. I would speak to Coach Parker a lot, like our position coach. I would speak to him a lot because he played at the next level. So he could just understand our frustration. But it was, for me, it's always trying to find somebody who can just understand where I'm coming from. Because if not, then it's pointless. And then when you're talking to them, they kind of feed on it and they don't give you the right solutions. So now you're talking, they start turning in their misery. Now y'all both trauma dumping. You know what I mean? I'm not looking for that. So now it's literally, you know what I mean, talking to Zoe. I talk to Zoe about everything when things are moving slow. You know what I mean? When things are moving correctly, when things are right in line, I speak to him about it because, like I said, man, we're coming from an angle that most people don't care. And it's not their job to. The only thing that you asking is for people to open and extend. If you really care about mental health and you really care about your team going to the next level, then you realize that you have to have all them on the same page. You know, everybody, the person that's the least fortunate got to feel like he the person with the NIL deal. It has to feel that balanced on your team. He ain't missing no sweatsuit, no camp, no meals, no nothing. You know what I'm saying? So trying to get that to that point.
Repeat that question one more time real quick.
So the
I like
question,
that, bro. I like that one.
so the question was, how do you talk to your family and friends about the pressure of sports?
Well, I know when I was playing, I felt like it was probably like unwritten therapy. That's what I was just thinking in my head while he was talking. Like, it's unwritten therapy, because the reason why I say it's unwritten, because it's like you don't even know that it's really happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just because I know when I was in college, me and my after the games, me and my dogs, like me and the teammates, we used to get together, come in the room, chill, vibe out. But we used to rewatch the game on TV while we was, you feel me, while we was at the crib chilling. You know what I'm saying? And we used to always talk about the plays, you know what I'm saying, or what happened and all of that stuff like that. And if we won, you know what I'm saying, you know you're going to talk about the good play, but then you don't really get into the bad play, because you know you're going to get into that when you get in film the week, the upcoming week. You know what I'm saying? But if we lost, we was in there talking about like how we could have did this better or how we could have did that better. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I call it unwritten therapy. And then sometimes when I used to, in high school, when I come home and after every game in high school and everything, or in the NFL, my mom used to call me after the game and we used to just chop it up, you know what I'm saying, on what happened in the game or what I could have did better. Because my mom never really was biased on like, if I did good, she gonna tell me I did good. If I did bad, she gonna tell me I did bad or what I could have did better in, because she was watching the game for sure. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I call it like unwritten therapy, because it's something that you don't even know that's really happening. you know what I'm saying, and you relieving the pressure from the game that you just had, you know what I'm saying, by talking to, I want to say, the good people that you have around you, you know what I'm saying? So that's why we're going to go next to, like, if you got like that support system around you, you know what I'm saying? And when things happen in the game that you can come and unwind, you know what I'm saying? So when you go up in the week, you know what I'm saying, after you watch, when you about to watch film with your team and then with your coaches and things like that, you already release that pressure that you already, you know what I'm saying, you already know what's coming. So you already prepared and you already have really your answer on what happened. Then, you know what I'm saying, and then you can move on. Like Cyril was saying, you don't like being surprised. You know what I'm saying? So like you can move on and gradually go to the next thing, you know what I'm saying, and learn from that mistake instead of like looking at it like you were saying, like the kid was embarrassed earlier, like when you talking, because in film, you on the big board. When a team meeting, everybody gonna see it and they gonna call you out. So you feel me? You better learn how to, you feel me, control your emotions and all that stuff like that, because you might feel a little embarrassed, but if you look at it in a positive light, going back to one of the questions that you had, if you look at it and you talk positive about it, you will grow and you will become a better athlete and a better person.
Build character.
Listen,
Yeah,
I
you build character.
listen. After watching Hard Knocks on HBO, I'm like, nah.
Yeah.
So, man, I'm telling you, bro. I'm telling you. Before you continue, before somebody else jump in, we did get Coach George join.
What's up with
Pops.
What's up, Coach George? How you feeling?
What's up, fellas? What's up, gentlemen? Glad I can make it on. Just getting out of this GRC graduation situation not too long ago.
Yes, indeed. Congrats to your graduates, Coach.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I had one that graduated from my GRC today, and I got two that graduate from my Green Run tomorrow.
Okay.
Perfect.
Congratulations.
That boy Justin Allen just joined too.
Okay. Justin, what up?
Justin, you still at the gym?
Y'all can hear me?
Yeah,
we can hear you. We can hear you.
Nah, I'm at the crib now. Pleasure to meet y'all, man.
Man, flip that screen on, boy.
Man, look, I've been trying to work everything. Hold on. I get this mug on. All right, there we go.
Thanks for being here, y'all. Happy mental health, Men's Mental Health Awareness Month to you all.
Yes.
Just hit the camera on the screen, huh?
Bruh.
But see, and with this next question, right? Because
No, go ahead.
So with this next question, right? We've seen the Bad News Bears, we've seen the Chicago Bulls, we've seen the Eagles, and we've seen the worst team in the NFL now was who? Oh, that's the Browns, right? Cool. How does your team environment affect your mental health? Think about your team environment. Like I'm gonna share this story with you, and it's kind of funny that I talk about it now, but my senior year, we went 2-22, right? But the great thing about this team of us going 2-22, we all love basketball. The problem is we just dealt with someone who we did not like. And that was the head coach and the assistant coach. And our third assistant coach had to leave because, he was young, so he was trying to find a job. So we just figure out, as like this. We're going to listen to this dude, but we're going to play this game because we love the game. So our record didn't really affect our love for the game and our love for, going to practice. We just dealt with someone who just wasn't good at X's and O's and, creating relationships with 12 black kids from Brooklyn. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, so basically with us, we were never negative. Of course, after the game, we'd be like, damn, we lost. But then on the bus, we like, man, 10 more games to go, fellas. Our season done, but we having fun.
Like when the players can't be ready for vacation.
Yes. Yes. But the question is, how does your team environment affect your mental health? Anybody could kick it off.
I mean, man, we ain't gonna hold no time. So I believe, your environment, period, whether it be your team, whether it be your family, whether it be your community. You have to learn how to escape. I think that's where a lot of our results come from. You know what I mean? A lot of our people in our communities that we come from, they've been swallowed up by the environment. You know what I mean? I feel like you have to create a positive environment in your head, however that looks. Nowadays, we have the outlet of speaking about our mental health, and there are actually people who advocate for helping you. From the time when I was coming up, though, it was just I didn't know that I was focusing on my mental health. I was just trying to escape. Anything that I can do to stay busy, to escape, being in the neighborhood, the deaths, the shootings, the drugs, being in the household, the arguments, the fights, whatever it was, the family, the dysfunction, go from one sport to the next. But I was creating a world inside of my head that I could live in if the world outside of me wasn't the greatest, you know what I mean? But whatever I did, I was always thinking forward because I don't want to get swallowed up. It's the same thing. If you're dealing with a team, I've been on teams that won 1-9 back to back. Nothing changed but the coaching staff, and then we started winning. But that's how it is. The environment, the coaches, everything has to lock in. You got to get everybody on the same page in jail and buy into what you're doing, or you can have the greatest team in the world and you lose. And we used to see that with teams like the Washington Redskins when Snyder used to try to get the great guys when they were old, put them together because they had big names and win. But it don't work like that, man. Everything has to be clicking all the way down to the janitors. You know what I mean? They have to feel good. The morale has to be there for the whole program. That's how championships, from what I've seen, the upper management from the players all the way down to the people who work the concessions are rolling like family. Like it's just clicking. It's a fun environment. And you want to be there.
Mm-hmm. Coach George, how about your answer, Coach George?
Yeah, I was going to chime in on that. I definitely think, I mean, is everybody in here coaches for the most part? Or,
For the most part, yeah.
I don't know everybody's background, so I just don't want to speak as a whole and say as coaches. But from my perspective, and for those up here that I know are coaches, when you're as coaches point of view, when you're trying to create, an environment, where everything is, on the same page and each player is locked in and focused on what you're trying to do. That definitely plays its part when you talk about your mental health. Because sometimes as coaches, we get caught up, wanting it more than our players. You know what I mean? And that can drive you crazy as a coach. You know what I mean? You find yourself wanting to put in the work more than your player does. And it just certain things that you just have to create as an environment, like you're saying, so that regardless of what the players are choosing to do as an individual, as a whole, you got more positive things going on. But that definitely is something that, you got to take advantage of and understand and be aware of when you are creating that environment of positivity, an environment of reality as well. Because sometimes, I'm saying we'll get caught up as coaches, one thinking that it's this, is that, and sometimes you might not have that type of mindset with you as you're trying to create that environment. But like Coach mentioned, what you want to do, regardless of what the outcomes are being, you want to put yourself in a position where you're enjoying each moment that you're growing through the journey. But yeah, you'll definitely find yourself, rather if it's up all night watching film, trying to prepare for the next opponent, you in the gym or you in the field, you trying to get your kids ready. Yeah, that could drive you crazy. You got to have those moments where you say, regardless after what happens at tonight's game, I'm not watching film. I'm going home and I'm just going to relax. I'm just going to chill. Rather if you married or not, rather if you got a lady or you got kids, I'm just going to be with my family. I'm just going to chill. I'm not going to be up to 2, 3 a.m. watching film and trying to prepare. I'm going to take a moment to just clear my mind. So I think as you're trying to create that environment for these kids that you're coaching, you got to have those moments where you're thinking about yourself as well mentally, because it'll drive you crazy trying to save. And especially y'all football coaches, man, y'all dealing with 40, 50, 60 kids sometimes. You know what I mean? And you're trying to make sure that each kid has something going on. And the reality of it is sometimes you can't particularly save everybody, but you'll drive yourself crazy trying to. But you got to find those moments where you're doing what you got to do to just create an environment where somebody can feed off it. So as a coach's point of view, you know, your environment gonna play a big part in everything that you got going on in your mental aspect, in your job, at home. So it's very important that you find that. And I'm stepping in those lights myself. And you just got to be able to take that moment to take care of you and your own mental too.
Now, so does anyone have a story as a coach where they stepped out of character and then after you was like, damn, I needed to get this off my chest, but I shouldn't have done that? I'm gonna start. It's kind of funny, but it's not funny. All right. So I was a high school teacher at a school named Broome Street Academy. I was coaching the JV team, right? And we had a game and we lost. The game was all the way in the Upper Bronx. I got so mad, right? With chair, and I threw a table in the classroom, right? And I was telling them, like, yo, I put too much time in for y'all to not listen and not understand how the game should be played. I said, I get it. Y'all young and you think you know, but we just lost the game. So, you know, a couple of the student athletes, they were kind of shocked and appalled at my actions. I'm like, bro, I really love basketball. So, you know, after the long train ride to my neighborhood, because it was like an hour and 30-minute train ride, and I even priced the Uber. The Uber was like $75, and I had the $75 to take the Uber from the Bronx. I stopped at the liquor store, right?
That's different.
Yo, listen. Yo, Callie, I stopped at the liquor store, right? Got a bottle of Moet. Not the one that's hot, the one that's in the fridge that the Asian people charge you an extra $5 for. I went and got one of those, sat on my couch, Coach James, opened up the bottle and drunk the bottle to my face by myself. Like, yo.
Wow, like Bob Knight.
When I
Stressed out.
Crashed out for real.
Crashed out.
You know what?
Then hold on. Then I get to school the next day, right?
The
whole team comes check me after school, was like, yo, coach, you was right. Don't tell me I was right. Should have just listened. Like, make it make sense. You know what I mean?
But that delivery, that's where that tone, that delivery, having that emotional intelligence, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, some kids, yep.
All of that, that's where it goes in. Then, like I said, man, you know, it took 30 some years, you know what I mean? I'm not one to be afraid of that. So where it ain't really happening that coaching aspect, because the way I chose to coach is to defend that. But I can attest to situations that I have with godchildren, you know what I mean, or nieces and nephews, where I pour it on a little bit, but then I pick their head up, like Mrs. Ely said last time we spoke. One in particular, like right now, I have my nephew here, he just graduated, and I remember, like, he literally called me with his cap and gown on, you know what I'm saying? He felt down. I'm not going to get into all the particulars why, but this was a moment specifically for him. Like, you're only going to graduate high school one time, and you focusing on other people, you know, making you down. You giving all your joy, your power away.
How you doing?
To feeling down. And that there, for you to be able to go and not decompress, and you not to be able to walk it off or go work out, but have to go get something to drink, sit on your couch, or throw a desk or a table or whatever. You know what I mean? That's a testament to why we need mental health coaches. Why, just before mental health coaches, just as individuals, as men, as women, we have to heal before we take that issue to coaching. You know what I'm saying? That's the number one reason why we in what we in, because now, me being an adult, I know I was coached by a bunch of unhealed and hurt men. You know what I mean? Whether it was the child support cases that they was fighting, you know what I mean? Whether it was the alcohol abuse that they was having because they didn't heal that stuff when they was a little kid. You got coaches that's been touched, never spoke about it. You know what I mean? And this is the stuff that's going on with kids. So it's a mirrored image. And whoever gets to heal it first is the person who really grows up. Whoever gets to face it and heal it is really the person who gets to grow up. So I don't have those interactions where I've stepped out of line with a child as far as with coaching, but I have poured it on thick. I give tough love and then I clean it up because I want them to know, like, bro, don't let no effing body take your joy. Nobody. Don't give nobody the expectation. Appreciate what everybody give you, but take your accolades, take the control that you have, hone it, enjoy it, bro. Because if you the sooner you get control of that, your life is going to be great. Because if you go your whole life allowing other people to dictate how your emotions and feelings going to be, it's going to be hell the whole journey. It's going to be hell.
That's a fact.
That you said a key word about you said environment. What was the word you used?
Yeah.
Well, you look at the schools that we're in now. I mean, when we were in high school, when I was in high school, I'm probably the oldest up here. Anybody over 52?
Nah.
Okay, so I'm the OG up here. Okay, so up here, like again, sports is like I look at things a little different, and you know, with the family I came out of, I was never missing none of those things. Like my dad left me because he died. My mama left me because she died. My sisters left me because they died. Everybody was there looking in my face. I'm baby of 12 kids, same mama, same daddy. I never dealt with none of that stuff. But what I had to do, like you used the word empathy, was I had to shut my mouth and listen to what the kid was dealing with. I don't know everything. And so, and also with the environment, like when I worked and coached at First Colonial, a losing program, I was taking kids home because they had nobody to take them home after school. I mean, after the game, we got 4 kids here, you know, taking them home. It's only a couple hoods here in Virginia Beach, Atlantis and Friendship. You know, we don't have a lot of hood here, but you go to the environment, I look at it and I'll be like, okay, that's why we dealing with this. I figured it out because I was allowed to go into their life and see what was happening. And myself, a lot of people think I play football. They think I play tight end because I catch whatever you throw at me. I play basketball. But that's just, you know, being an athlete. But then let's go past the athletic ability. And I always tell my kids, your character is going to take you further than your athletic ability. You know, you one injury away from a coach not caring about you. Okay, you look at college football, you get highly recruited, 5-star, go get an injury and see if that coach coming back to the hood to get you. Okay, the people will come to the hood and recruit you, and they'll slide money in your pocket, they'll break the daggone rules just to get you to the school. But when something happened to you, it's on to the next guy. You know, and society plays a lot. Like in the school system, we didn't have psychologists on site. We didn't have security guards. We didn't have all this stuff we have at schools now. Like we were good. You had the principal, the counselors, and a paddle on the wall. We good. Now you have psychologists, you have SROs. Why do we have all of that? You know, because we're looking at the kids. The kids don't have these things in their society, in their environments. Environment is one of the top 3 things that shapes you. So if I threaten your safety and your environment, football don't matter, does it? Okay. If you're bored, I mean, like you can change in a minute. You know, my man was talking about earlier, you know, about what he would do. Like if a family need to eat, I'm gonna rob a bank. You ever seen the movie John Q?
I was watching that earlier.
Okay. So what did John Q do in that? Like he about to kill himself so that his son can have his heart or something lung or
I think it was a lung or something like that.
Yeah, his heart.
Yeah,
John
Q. It was his heart. It was his heart.
Right. Yeah, he about to take his life. Then they found a match. You know, meanwhile, you know, he done locked up the hospital. He finna keep his kid right. You know, it depends on, you know, again, I know I'm all over the place, but there's so many things that shape an athlete, society, your parents, Coach Lord Callie was talking about, you know, you've been touched. You know, most guys don't want to talk about that. And then somebody was talking about fear of judgment. So you get a grown man that's 30 and you use that word unhealed. And now you about to go coach some kids and you unhealed, but they don't know that. Who knows that you unhealed? What does unhealed look like? You know, when you start spending time, which is a love language, when you start giving time to yourself, when you start getting around people, you start finding out about you. You start finding out their needs and wants. And when you start healing a person, helping them heal, they can go help the next person. And, you know, so, but if those coaches, like you said, you was pissed off and all that, you wanted something more you wanted to win more than the guys did. So then you got to get the expensive stuff off. You ain't go for the twist top. You went to the expensive stuff. Why?
Yeah,
You know, I know that sounds funny, but I'm just saying you wanted more than them.
Yeah.
You know, but again, and then Callie says, okay, now when you can't run those touchdowns no more, what does it look like for you? What are you doing with the rest of your life? So now, you know, it's a lot of things that shape that, but society is a big one, you know, and y'all see it everywhere. You know,
That's the game. That's Coach James. That's the game that we're all playing.
Yeah.
That's
Yes,
why.
sir.
That's why it's so important. You know what I mean? Because X's and O's, we can do that. We do that very well.
That's the easy.
We getting our behinds kicked in the real world. You know what I'm
Yes,
saying?
sir.
And not to cut you off, I just wanted to bring light to Coach P. Coach Timothy John Pierre just stepped in the building, so wanted to give him some light for being here and thanking him for being here and introduce himself too.
Oh man, I'm here. My apologies for being late. Running around with the youngins.
Well, that's my boy from Norfolk State.
Yeah, that's P.
Man, behold, brother.
What up, P?
Behold, brother. What's
My
good, my guy?
boy.
I, you know, just a part of what we do, man. I still got a couple of my guys that we out at the Wingstop. They in there taking forever, like I don't gotta go somewhere. But they up in there, we're gonna make sure they eat. But no, I mean, at the end of the day, you know, it's a whole lot that we could, you know, that I could say right now. But I'm, you know, Timothy Jean Pierre, head coach Cambridge High School, man. Played at Norfolk State. Graduated in 07. Been coaching and teaching for about 17 years, man. And you know, my passion is helping to develop young men. Football is just a tool that I use to do that because football saved my life. So hopefully it can save their lives. Don't get it twisted. Still got in stuff sometimes, still got in trouble. But if that football was removed, if that activity was removed, there's a whole lot of stuff that I would have got into. And I still got into stuff. However, it gave me an opportunity to develop and mature as a man until I had a child and I realized, well, life is more than me. But ultimately, you know, mental health is something, you know, football, exercising has been a tool for my mental health. I played the game angry, and it was my way of dealing with my anger. If I didn't have that, I don't know what I would have did with my anger. I'm not sure what level of anger that this generation has. Obviously, they're angry, but it's hard to dictate emotional versus angry. And the more you get to know guys, the more you get to be able to obviously calibrate, connect, and then make some corrections in the behaviors and then identifying, you know, what it is to be a man. Because like I told my parents, I had a parent meeting last night, you know, I'm trying to establish a culture here so strong that it counters the culture that's in the world. Because the culture in the world, we celebrate death. We celebrate, like, I got players that listen to drill music but ain't shot nobody, right? So it's like, you know, Callie, you talk to the guys, you know, Callie asked the guys, you know, how much are you worth? You know what I mean? And nobody could give a response, you know, but we identifying with all of this foolishness, but not understanding what value is. So that's where the mental health for me really starts becoming a problem, because it's something called alexithymia, and not to talk your head off, but I teach my guys this all the time. Alexithymia is the inability to express yourself, something that black males, that men in general deal with. You know, men are more likely to kill themselves than others. I'm sure y'all talked about all this stuff, but alexithymia turns into covert depression, turns into drug abuse, and then it's a cycle of violence, and that's where we literally stuck at right now. So breaking these generational curses, I heard my guy talking about healing, doing the self-work and all of that. We got to be able to identify what does that mean, because it happens at all ages and levels. You're not too old to get better. So that's what I do. That's what I spend my time doing. You know, a lot of times the youngins are the motivation for me to continue to move in the right direction. I got my son in the front seat. You know, he's obviously a reminder as well. But I'm just happy to be a part of, you know, a group of guys that's just trying to, you know, that understands it, that, you know, to get the narrative and to take control of the narrative, more importantly. But I ain't gonna talk your heads off.
Yeah, man. Thank you, P. Thank you for being here. Like I said,
P, that was perfect.
Happy Men's Mental Health Awareness Month to you too as well.
Yes, sir, brother. Yes, sir.
And that's, you know, and that's a great transition to our next section, because if you think about it, this is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, right? Now it's time to be, we can still crack a little joke or two, but let's talk about self-care and growth.
Mm-hmm.
And the one thing is that in regards to this section is I want you to open up, I want you to be vulnerable, and I want you to be honest, that's with yourself. So Justin, I have a question for you, and this question is for everybody, but I would love for Justin to answer first. What's one thing you wish you had learned sooner about self-care?
One thing I had learned sooner, probably, I think growing up, I forgot one of you were talking about escaping, and I always thought that meant like I basically did that by myself, right? You know what I'm saying? And I think as I've gotten older and the more that I seek knowledge and grow, the more that I understand that I escape more by seeking knowledge and also speaking to people that I trust because they give me the right feedback that I need. You know what I'm saying? The environment that I grew up in, I had a great father, 1,000%, but the lack of time that we had because he was in the military and because he was split from my mother, it was a bit of a conflict there. You know what I'm saying? So as we struggled, had our times being homeless and stuff like that, I felt like everything was on me. You know what I mean? And I didn't feel like I could express myself like how I can express myself now. So I think just being okay with being myself and allowing myself to, like I said, be able to open up to people who I've learned to trust and care. Like I thought that was a form of being soft or weak. You know what I'm saying? And being that my dad was military, grandfather military, I'm like, man, I ain't soft, I ain't weak. Like I'm a this aggression and this anger into my passion, and that happened to be sports. You know what I'm saying? But once those sports ended, I ain't had no escape, and reality struck, and I was just like lost. I went to my sister. Like it's crazy. Like I literally went to my sister, and in high school when I went to her, used to say everything was cool. I'd be good, like cool. I went to her. Now I'm still going through depression. I was like, nah, this ain't working. Met up with my pops. I'm like, this ain't working. And that's when I had to realize that how I used basketball as an escape, I had to find that new escape. And that's how I got into training, man. And so I can help people express themselves, find themselves, and be able to seek knowledge outside of what they are taught so that they can have a different outcome and different understanding and make those life choices that I made as I went through the adversity a lot sooner than I had to.
Okay. Is there anyone else who would love to answer that question?
Yeah, I'm sure you're gonna get a few.
The question is, what's one thing you wish you had learned sooner about self-care?
That is a priority.
Oh, go ahead, sir.
I just said that is a priority that I should prioritize. That without it, I'm not any good for anybody else that's around me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with that. I definitely agree. I agree with that. I think one thing that I wish that I would have took heed to earlier when it came to self-care was connecting with nature more. Being from the city at first, you just think, oh, that's country, you know what I'm saying, all that. But now I'm reaping all the benefits of just being able to connect with nature. It definitely helps you heal. As I was telling one of the brothers in the group chat yesterday, being able to work out, no matter if you got a good plan and good thoughts and happy thoughts, or if you got adversity on you, by the time you do a full workout and you come out, you at least have a plan. You know what I mean? Most times it's an area where I could decompress or go for a ride or ride a bike. Even when the brothers went fishing today, I wouldn't do the fishing, but I would sit by water. And it would at least give me a ability to, again, escape, quiet the noise, and just get my thoughts so I can make a clear decision. So I wish I was doing that a whole lot sooner, because a lot of times when we coming up, we don't want to make our friends, you know what I mean, upset. You don't want to be the Debbie Downer now. It's like, man, it's you got to get this truth, man.
No, I like that, Brody. I think one thing I'll probably say that I know more earlier about self-care is probably not like holding holding a lot of things in.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And like bottling it up. And I think the reason why is because like again, growing up in an environment that most of us grew up in, we are taught to like, you know, to be tough. You know what I'm saying? Not show emotion, and with doing that, like back then, not knowing no better, you feel me? Because you only know what you know, you feel me, or what you're exposed to. I thought that was the way to go. So that's how I always handle a lot of things. But then getting older and understanding that holding things in really eat you up from the inside out. You might not think it, but the way you act, the way you talk, the way you walk, the way you carry yourself, the way you interact with people, it affect all that. The way you perform on the field, you feel me? It affect all of that. So like me personally, I just more so like now learning, like how you said, smart, like the thing is that kind of got me through a lot of things, bro, was the crazy part about it is I used to get away by watching like Animal Planet and like stuff like that. You feel me? Like, cause like it always kind of like gave me that push and that that it was like better out there. You know what I'm saying? Better out there. And then when I finally got exposed to that, when I got to Seattle, that's when I actually started like doing trails, you feel me, walking to hot springs and going through, you feel me, the woods, and you feel me, just chilling out there, just connecting and listening to nature. So you ain't lying about that. Like that junk really is soothing. I think that's the reason why I got 3 to 4 fish tanks. You feel me? Because of the water dropping. You know what I'm saying? It's relaxing to me when I get home from a long day. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
definitely.
like,
You okay?
so that's what I say for me.
On this,
For sure.
this month, okay?
Fact. Is there anybody else who would like to answer the question?
Sure.
Oh, my fault.
Yeah, I would
Mute
like
up,
to
mute
answer
up.
I'm watching
Mute
the
up,
kid.
Susan.
My fault.
Oh,
You good?
Oh, can y'all hear me?
Yes.
yeah.
I would say for me with self-care, I wish I would have learned sooner that I can pour into myself. Like I can write, I can dance, I can listen to music, I can sit in nature and not have to entertain or give or do anything to anybody else, and it's okay. If I just want to if I want to just watch old episodes of Martin or HGTV, it's okay and not feeling bad about it. I just wish that I would have known it was something about self-care. Because, you know, growing up, I saw my parents work. You know, I didn't see anyone taking time for themselves, talking about getting a massage or going for a walk. Like, you know, we didn't do stuff like that. It was just work, work, work. You know? And so, you know, now I make sure that I get self-care because I deal with stress and hypertension, and I want to conquer that. I am going to conquer that. I want to meditate more and just really sit and do nothing and let my mind not race. But I wish I would have known as a younger woman that it's okay to tell people no. And even though I draw energy from people because I like being social, that it's okay to just sit and be and not have to, you know, entertain or have that kind of responsibility. Because it's a lot when you're pouring out to people and you listen to people, even before becoming a counselor. Just, you know, people talking to you, you know. I'm a product of teen parents, so they're trying to at 21, 23,
Yeah.
parent me and be married. And I'm in the middle, sometimes, not all the time, but just from an early age, trying to solve problems. And so, my parents are awesome, by the way. I hope my dad is up here. But it's just it's good to tell yourself it's okay to tell people no, and it's okay to not feel like have to do something because you don't want to disappoint people. So
Right.
Yeah.
Good answer, babe.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Nah, man, I think
good
that,
answer.
hey, Pops,
Yeah.
I'm glad that we do, because you know what we do this for. It is Men's Mental Health Awareness Month, but we doing this monthly because it's about giving the proper tutelage to high school athletes. And while TJ is up here, it's important that he hears that, because we're in an era where individualism is lacking. You know what I mean? And I want you to hold on to your individualism and be a professional no man when things ain't right, because a lot of us were a product of, you're going to hear a lot of adults talk to you, say they were a product of their environment, you know what I mean? Or peer pressure. You're going to hear these things. So I pray that you hear these things and you're able to take them in and pass them on to your friends, and at least you make the right decisions, because once you get our age, that's when you realize you wasn't missing out on nothing by getting those age like you're doing. You wasn't missing out on nothing by sitting on that panel while others are on the game, you know what I mean, and doing it online, because there's things going on that you will be privy to. But you gotta have your eyes and your ears open to grasp the opportunity. So by staying in your individualism, especially in today's time, and thinking for yourself, it's important. You know what I mean? It's imperative that y'all hear that, because a lot of things of today flow with the algorithm. You know what I mean? A lot of y'all not even thinking for yourself, and y'all don't even have y'all feelings and y'all emotions wrapped into something. They look back and y'all see if it's popular first, and then they go on with the answer on how they don't really feel about it.
Right.
So I feel like that's big.
Right. And then, and then I was gonna ask a follow-up question in regards to self-care. And the question is, because you just mentioned, something about being a product of your environment. So I would like to know from everyone, was self-care tactics modeled in your household and in your community?
No.
Of course not.
I think on the most basic
don't-
level, get a
on the
haircut.
basic-
You know what I mean? Get a
Hey.
haircut every 2 weeks.
Nah,
Strive to get some
hey,
sneakers.
can I be transparent?
Noah.
Can I be
Go ahead.
transparent? Let me be transparent from my self care. And this is just being real. My father, rest in peace. Like you said, he worked all day, but my dad is gonna go smoke his weed and take a shower, and then that's his self care. So the self care that I may have seen may not have been the appropriate self care, but that was self care that I saw. Like I knew that he had to have his time to himself before he was able to cook us dinner and serve us. It's 6 of us in the household, and he worked all day long. And because my mom, she's working too. Like she's working, he's working, but he still made sure that no matter what, he's gonna have his time, and then he's gonna still provide and cook for us every day. So we had home cooked meals every day from my father. So I would say that I did see that. So I did see that he had his time before he can give us our time that we need.
Yeah. I think their self-care back then was more on decompression. And I think our self-care now, like, we really get to exercise that. Like, we have the tutelage, we have the information. Just breathing, you know what I mean? Breathing exercises, having support groups. Like I said, by them highlighting mental health is important, you know what I mean? And then, like I say, whether it's every day or them highlighting it a month and saying men's mental health, that's big, because like you said, it's 6 of them, you know what I mean? A lot of us come from those big families. The families are getting smaller now, but we come from that where you most time you ain't see your mom and dad have no time, which is why we catching it late, taking some me time, you know what I mean?
And
But go
brother,
ahead.
what you said about today, that's also, I learned that from my father. Like he knew me better than anybody. Like he'll be like, "Hey Zoe, come on, let's go fishing." Like I hadn't been fishing since my father passed until, because that was just let's go shoot a game of pool. Like
Mm-hmm.
he was showing me things like, let's watch the game, like come get something to eat. You know what I'm saying? Like that's
Fellowship.
self-care. Like he was teaching me self-care, maybe not even know, or maybe he did know, but those are the things that I may not even know I needed. Like I'm depressed and sad, but now when I go fishing, like today was great. I went fishing. I'm still connected to my father, even though he's not here in the physical. I caught the biggest fish of the day, and that reminds me of stories when he's like, he called the fish Bucky, like go catch Bucky. That's a big fish, and I don't even cuss. And I was like, damn, Dad, that fish got away from me. Like those are the memories that live on. You know what I'm saying? So yes, like it was modeled for me. So it's interesting how we're talking about this and not even knowing the things you need. Your parents may be teaching you, not even knowing they're teaching. They're doing their best. Parents are doing their best, the best they can. That's all they can do is do the best they can.
Right.
They only know what they know and what they're exposed to.
That is, and that's another great statement, because when it comes to self-care, right? Especially we're 80s babies. So we've seen it. Self-care being done in negative ways where
when
you're looking at things like damn, like this is what my family member has to do to chill.
Right.
In regards to to them messing up their bodies and messing up their organs.
That's a fact.
You an 80s baby, not me.
But I got what you're saying, though.
Definitely. Like Kirsten said, I mean, whether you was born in the 80s or not, if you come from teenage parents, a lot of our teenage parents, of course, they didn't have the proper, tutelage to be parents. So we were learning on the fly with them. A lot of stuff that they was experiencing for the first time, we was experiencing it right there. I know, speaking for myself, it was like that. So like you said, doing the best they can. But our job, and again, my opinion, the way I live my life is we got to be the ones who throw the monkey wrench in the game to teach the youth. You know what I'm saying? Like TJ, you need to be taking your time right now. You know what I mean? There should be an hour a day. You know what I mean? Wherever. And I ain't doing nothing until I do this. I make it important when we in our team meetings. When we in our mental health meetings every week before the game. It's not always loud. Everybody don't get hyped like that. Like me, I was one of them. I don't have to jump around and exude my energy, and waste my energy that I'm gonna need in the fourth quarter. We go to overtime. But some of my teammates, like P, I always say defense a little bit loony anyway. I tell them all the time. I say, because y'all crazy. You know what I'm saying? But I know what he playing from a different place. You got some teammate that might be from the Poking Bean. Somebody might be from the Ninth Ward in Louisiana. So they playing with a different ilk on them. You know what I mean? And you got to know that. But it's just important for everybody, you know what I'm saying, to take care of themselves, because I didn't know how important my feet was until I was 36 and caught plantar fasciitis. I didn't know that stuff knocks you down for a year. But had I been rolling my foot on the tennis ball continuously, taking myself outside and grounding, changing my insoles. If I'm gonna play basketball, I'm gonna get new insoles, and I'm gonna get basketball shoes only, and not the stylish ones. It's just like being protective of yourself in all aspects. That's self-care. You know what I'm saying? It's like you got to protect the number one asset. You got to live in your body, so you got to be mindful. And the earlier the better. The sooner y'all can learn how to eat, the sooner y'all can learn how to recover. The sooner you can learn why LeBron James and people like that invest $1 million in their body. It's for the longevity, so you could be able to be 40 and 45 and 50 and still pick your kids up and run, up and down, with your grandkids. We want y'all to be able to get that, and not just be old and tired and be on canes and sick.
You ain't lying about that one, bro.
Hey, real quick, in the chat, is Johnny Hutchinson still here?
He said how?
Pops, do you see the question that he asked, Pops?
No, I don't actually.
All right, he said, and this maybe I can ask the question and we can talk about it. He said, how can I get out of a very bad mental state? I'm so effed up. I don't know what to do.
First things first, you can reach
Gratitude.
out.
The
You can
best
definitely,
thing, the best thing he did,
yeah,
the best thing he
spoke on
did for real though was speaking on it and identifying it.
it. Mm-hmm.
That
Be
was the best
honest.
thing he could have did. He honest with himself and he see it and he identified the problem.
Yes.
That's the best thing he did.
And you're on the Leaders Only channel. All you got to do, we pass on information over here. So reach out and we'll put it in the chat. Baby, can you write in the chat Leaders Only 22 at gmail.com. And if you heard anybody tonight that you feel comfortable with, we'll pass on their information. But we do have licensed therapists as well. If you have insurance, this is one of the big things that we like to do. If you have insurance, your insurance can take care of it. You know what I mean? Or we can at least put you with the right people so you can see if you can exercise that opportunity. But speaking on it, like Mike said, secondly, just email us so we can get you over to, seeing where you at, seeing if we can get you with people that's in your area. Secondly, putting you in the right position to do it virtually.
And then other things also to add on and tack to that too. Also, if you don't have those things, I don't know who the guy is, but I don't know if he lift weights. Do he lift weights? Make sure he adding, physical activity, what I'm saying, to his daily regimen. You know what I'm saying? Having those open conversations with the people in his circle. You know what I'm saying? Being mindful, you know what I'm saying, of like what he got going on, and meditating, you feel me, taking time to himself, and be creative, have some creative outlets. You heard people on this chat today had said they go fishing. Some people draw, some people, you feel me, do pottery, you feel me, like some people go play, you know what I'm saying, pool, you know what I mean? Or some people go walk in nature, go do some hikes, add some things to your, you know what I'm saying, your regimen, you know what I'm saying, and have a routine and be structured. There's some things that I definitely had wrote down for some men coping skills, you know what I'm saying, some healthy men coping skills. And
always
also
put 988 too.
And then always you can call 9. What you say, 988?
Yep, 988 is the mental health line. You could be anonymous or you could tell them who you are.
Yep, you can do that too. Sure, and if you want some things you can read, you can follow me at _Tyson Center. That's my mental health center. I post a lot of mental health stuff up there too. So,
So you put it in there? All right, yeah. So for that young man, that brother, as you can see, the email is in the chat. Email us, and like I said, we'll pass on everybody's information so you can reach out to whom you need to. Thank you for putting that in the chat. And thank you for catching that, Miss Biscuits. I appreciate you.
And don't give up, brother. Don't give up.
Yes. Change the diet. You know what I mean? Start fasting.
Yep.
What else you got, Pops? Let me see what time it is. All right, cool. We got enough. Let's do two more questions, and let's wrap it up so everybody can have a beautiful night. And we'll keep everybody.
Look, I was late, so can I chime in on something real quick?
Please do. Go ahead. P. My bad, P.
So,
we gotta get you at the right time.
Yeah. No, it's all good. I had some guys come over and give us some 707 work after practice, so that's why I kind of threw extra off. But first thing, I was talking about self-care. Your food is your medicine, and your medicine is your food. All right. For me, when I was younger, I used to be so jittery and impulsive, and I never knew why. I was raised on bacon, egg, and cheese biscuits. I was raised on Junior Bacon cheeseburgers. I was raised on a lot of that, what I call ignorance now, because I know better now, right? But it's not until I changed my diet that jitteriness left, like literally left. You know what I mean? The certain issues that I dealt with as a young adult, my impulsiveness and my ability to deal with my emotions from a discipline standpoint, it drastically increased when you have a better nutrition diet. And what it does is it allows you to evaluate your emotions before you react. All right. So I still feel the same stuff, but I'm not as impulsive to it because of I have my body operating at a certain frequency, right? So self-care for me, that's something I wish I would have knew sooner. But I'm glad I know it now because there's certain things that I do with my mom. I'm trying to extend my mom's life. you know, via the gut health. You know, I'm trying to take weight off her knees. We dealing with the gout. We dealing with blood pressure. Like, I'm taking her off all the meds because of this information, right? So that's one aspect. That's one thing that we really got to start paying attention to, because health is literally wealth, and they are literally drowning us with these poisons, whether it's via TV, whether it's via foods, because the reality is we came into this world perfect, all right? Which takes me to my next thing, right? It's something called the ACEs test, the Advanced Childhood Experience study, right? And they literally link certain experiences and traumas with certain health issues. And these health issues definitely run rampant in our families, you know, the Black community. And the only way we would deal with this is via what we put into our doors, our eyes, to our ears, and to our mouth. All right. So, right, to establish to understand what mental health is, right? But it's a whole nother thing to provide the solution. All right. And the number one solution is what we're putting into our bodies, because they are betting on us to depend on a pharmaceutical industry, because we're eating that which is poisonous to us. All right. And I know, I'm not sure if y'all know this, but we are carbon-based beings. You know, Europeans are nitrogen-based. So the entire food industry is based off of, right, making sure that those nitrogen-based entities are getting their testosterone and estrogen properly regulated. Because we are carbon-based, we already come with our estrogen and our testosterone already properly regulated. We don't need, all we got to do is eat properly. So that's where our deficiencies come from, because when we don't eat right, our body has to pull from itself to supplement that which we are eating. All right. And, you know, y'all know who Chop was. Rest in peace to Chop. You know what I mean? That's my roommate, you know. But, you know, I got to a point where I was numb, where people just dying. You know, the number one cause of death in our country is heart disease. Number two is cancer. Number three is doctor misdiagnoses. Think about that, right? So I'm not gonna talk your head off, but I would be remiss if I did not address what I think the ultimate problem is. You know, you got babies getting snatched out their moms and being thrown onto processed food. You know, I saw a video with a kid farting all crazy, and everybody like, oh, it's funny, the kid farted. No, why does that kid have gas right now? All right. But anyways, there's a lot of books out there, you know, Dr. Sebi, Dr. Leela Africa, Nutricide, Holistic Health. You know, I got a book out, but it really just comes off of their information. I just give it to you in a rudimentary form. But it's health, man. Health is wealth. Eat. Let your food be your medicine and your medicine be your food. Or, you know, we're going to be talking about these issues for a very, very long time. And like Callie said, fasting is something. I'm Haitian, right? So my family always had us starved. I don't say starving. We thought we were starving, but we was fasting. Yeah. You know what I mean? And one thing my pops always taught me is when you're going through something, man, stop eating. Stop putting extra energy in your body, foreign energies. You know what I mean? Because when we get sick, the first thing that leaves is your appetite, because your body is smart enough to know I need to deal with whatever this issue is, and we need to stop putting stuff in our body. All right. Which takes me to my last point. I had to deal with a lot of ridicule from my family because I was losing weight the right way, but they didn't associate a positive result. They're like, oh, you losing weight. Oh, you ain't gonna never get married. Oh, why you so small, right? And I had to go through that in isolation until I got to the point where now they understand the benefit. Because nobody in the history of history, joints got stronger as they got older and heavier. And God didn't design us to be walking all crazy. And I'm not gonna go into all of that, but there's just a way to operate that God designed. I focus on design. All right. So our eyes were designed for a certain thing. Your eyes gonna look as long as until your brain say stop looking. You know, don't blame your eyes for looking at something. They designed to look. They ain't designed to do nothing else but look. So I'm big on design, and the gut can only process but so much information a day. So we have to just be careful what we are putting in our bodies. Itis is a real thing. You can't expect to be productive in the day when you wake up in the morning and eat a full meal. And then you're trying to go about the day. Then you're going to go sit down. You know what I mean? So I'm big on, you know, what we put into our bodies. Breaking your fast, if you didn't know, is it's breakfast. You know, the first thing you put in your body should be water and fruit. There's a circadian rhythm and a detoxification process that the body goes through naturally. Whether you honor it or not doesn't change the fact that it's happening. Your
Right.
organs need water. Your organs need, you know, because they go through certain, it's a circadian rhythm. As soon as the sun hits, your organs go on a timer. And just because you operating against the timer doesn't change the fact that your organs are going to do what God designed them to do. So if you start with water, you start with fruit, you eat one meal a day. And obviously we all working from different points, different habits, you know. So, you know, I would just encourage people to start with how you break your fast. If you were sleeping for 8 hours, guess what? You won't eat for 8 hours. Extend that fast as long as you can. But those are some of the things that I wish I knew when I was younger. Because ultimately it put me in a power position and not be so impulsive. And in this generation, these youngins, they got to deal with way more than we had to deal with when we was their age. You know what I mean? So one thing that could just help them be better in how they respond to this overstimulation is, you know, letting the food be the medicine and the medicine being the food.
Yes.
And that's
Thank you, man. That was dope, bro.
P.
We appreciate that. That summed up a lot, you know what I'm saying? But I'm glad to have you on here. That's why I wanted you a part of this and initially because like you said, it's an isolated fight. You know, you get a lot of ridicule, you get a lot of smart comments, and you get a lot of ignorance, especially in our community. But the truth is the truth, and the proof is there. You know what I mean? People are dropping like flies in every last one of our families. You hear the jokes when you talk about losing Chop and other athletes or other friends and family members from cancer and heart attacks, and people want to still be funny and talk about what they're gonna eat that's terrible and stack it up on their plate. But that's the main reason why we just appreciate Hermitage High School and being a part of Green Run High School, because these are the two high schools that accepted us. Coach P is more into the holistics in his life. Over at Green Run, we got Coach Carr and we got Coach Harris that's been partaking in Watermelon Wednesdays. And until you get the head of the ship, if you don't get the head of the ship to buy into the transition of our community, it's only going to stop at football. You know what I mean? Like I said, it's only going to stop at the sports. And every OJ the Juice, what's the man name? OJ Simpson, excuse me. But he died. I mean, his stats are phenomenal, but his life was cut short because of health. Tons of athletes, life is just being cut short because of health. Knee replacements because they're top heavy. I mean, it's very simple, and we have to emphasize this because a lot of the genocide that's happening is just because of ignorance. It's just formulated ignorance that's just being passed on, and bad habits. And until we get more coaches that listen, you know what I mean, and take this serious in their house, that's why we're here to combat it. Because what they're not willing to coach and what they don't want to coach, we are. You know what I mean? It's sad, you know, to have young men 39 and in their 40s dying because of cancer and heart attack and diabetes, when all this stuff can be reversed. So I appreciate you for being here tonight, Coach P, no matter the time. And I appreciate everybody who did make it, who's a part. And if anybody would like to be a part of next month's, please reach out to us on the back end. I would love for Pops to just get one last question off because we are past 9 o'clock and I do want to get you guys up out of here. But when we're working around schedules, this is the way it happens. And I'm just thankful and
But
appreciative for everybody
brother,
pouring in.
that's the whole reason why we did it on the Zoom.
Mm-hmm.
We already knew that people gonna be doing things, moving around, you know what I'm saying? So we already knew that. So you feel me? That's the whole point of the Zoom.
Yes. So, Pops, one last question, and then everybody, man, you have a wonderful night and a wonderful weekend.
You know what, Callie? I don't have a question.
Okay.
A challenge.
Okay.
Right? So for next month, right, I challenge us to bring in more students, more student athletes.
Got you.
And, you know, and the reason being because is this. What we're doing is we're modeling how these conversations should happen and how they should take place. Right. So it's dope that we have adults here. We have one young student athlete in TJ, but we need more student athletes. So
I got a question, Pop.
Yeah.
So I know when I was giving out the link to watch it on YouTube.
Okay.
But I know a lot of other, parents and stuff that would like to get up there that have kids that play play sports and that's athletes and stuff too. So if you want the parents and the kids actually on, I can send those. Make sure I can send a link when we about to hop on. You feel me? So they can hop on too. I just didn't know if you wanted the kids actually on the call. You feel me? Or watching the call. So now I know. So I know how we doing it. You feel me? So we gonna get that straight.
Yeah, we just need we need both. You know what I mean? We want them here. That's why we putting it out to have them both. But on the panel, just let us know. You know what I mean? Like Zoe and I hit you on the back end. That's just invite them in.
I'm about to say, I might try to open, depending on what time it is, I'm gonna open it up to my entire team, and then I might do the Zoom in the classroom. And put it on the whiteboard so those guys could just kind of sit back in the background and listen, and if they got questions and kind of chime in from that standpoint.
Okay.
But that's
for stuff like that, Pete, let us know the best day because it don't have to be on a Thursday.
No.
All right. Well, I have to talk to my guys. You know, next week we got regular week and then it's dead period coming. But okay. All right. Cool. Perfect.
Challenge accepted, Pops.
Yeah, challenge accepted, my boy.
If that be the case, thank everybody for being here. This is our second installment. This was more of a pop-up, but we're gonna do better with getting them links over earlier, man, so we can literally push it and get these flyers out for the next one, so we can just keep spreading the word. Chop it up, but please share that YouTube link so we can get the full thing out. We're trying to bring in more coaches. We're trying to bring in more athletes. But the main thing is, with us being adults, we're trying to combat bad coaching, man. Seriously, you can get your point across being a healed coach. You don't have to emasculate a man anymore. We've been through that. We already went through that. We don't have to, tear these young men down to the point where they don't want to even do anything. You know what I mean? Right now, they ain't getting no love. So we let our coaches, we support tough love. But off that field, we gotta, create great young men. We need it.
Well, look, before we slide out, look, I got one thing to say. You see, I got this shirt on with this hoodie on. That don't say like "You are enough." You know what I mean? This for all the men and everybody in the world. And then on the back of this, dear universe, you feel me? The world is a better place with you in it. You feel me? Love the person that's in front of you.
That's a fact, man. So
you know what I'm saying?
With that being said, if anybody else have anything else, man, if not, thank you. That's
Yes,
it.
sir.
Appreciate you.
Hey,
all.
man. Love, man. Love.
Most definitely.
Thank you, everybody, for making the time.
See y'all boys next month.
Yes, indeed. And ladies, thank you all.
Most definitely. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Callie, I need them grapes and watermelons, brother.
I got you.
Most definitely.
I got you.
All right, now.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all.
Great one.
Later.
Later.